Hi, my name is Ruth Irvine and I am an account manager and SBOS consultant here at Sagittarius. SBOS simply stands for Sitecore Business Optimization Strategy, and Sagittarius have worked with Sitecore to implement a short series of workshops to help our clients hit the ground running and get started with personalisation quickly and simply on their sites. So what is it and what should you expect? Well, Sagittarius will come in and deliver a short series of 4 workshops with you. The first is working out your goals and engagement values. Your second and third is identifying who your audience is, so your profiles and personas. And then the 4th session will be looking at how we can take all of this information and implement it into a personalisation strategy. Now, Sagittarius over the last 12 months have actually worked with lots of clients and have delivered 27 workshops, so considered as experts in this field. There is a 9-stage process when implementing the SBOS series of workshops. Initially, we will work with you and your teams to identify your business objectives, marketing objectives, and how these should feed your online digital goals. Then looking at your audience, so the people that are coming to your site, what do you want to deliver to them? How best do we want to get them to convert? We will then look at taking all of these bits of information and implementing that into a personalisation strategy. Once we've implemented your personalisation strategy, we then want to look at how we can improve it. So we will work with you and your team to identify those opportunities, look at where we're missing conversions. We will then show you how we can optimise those opportunities. And we have to remember that the consumer, your consumer, is always growing and we need to nurture them, and therefore this task is unfortunately ongoing and we need to continually repeat it, look at the data, assess the insight, and then implement a strategy based on those learnings. Session 1, we will work with you and your team to identify your goals and your engagement value. So what does this include? Initially, we'll come in and we'll give you a deep dive as to what Sitecore can offer you and your team. We will then look at how this can be mapped into your goals. So your goals are obviously driven by your business goals, then they feed into your marketing goals, and then these will drive your digital goals. So once you've got your goals, we then need to map them against your consumers' engagement value. So how do these goals add up over the site as somebody moves around the site? We will work those out with you and your team, and you will walk away with this session with all of the goals and all of the engagement values that can be mapped into Sitecore. Session 2 and 3, we will look at your profiles and personas. So initially we'll look at the theory. What are profiles, what are personas, what are pattern cards, the big P's behind personalisation on Sitecore. We will then try and identify who they are on your site. So in practice, what do your consumers look like? How do they move across the site? What are their digital touch points? And then we will look at mapping this back into Sitecore, and we will provide you with a strategy of implementation. So once this has all been identified, you'll be able to walk away from this session with your profiles, profile keys and pattern cards, implement these on Sitecore, and you'll be ready to embark on the path to personalisation. Session 4 is looking at the personalisation strategy. So we've identified the goals and we've worked out the engagement values. We've looked at who your consumer is, so how they map into your profiles and personas. So we've gathered all this information. We now need to look at how we can implement a personalisation strategy to get those conversions on site. Ultimately, we're driving for a return on investment and improving on-site conversions. So we will give you and your team the knowledge to identify opportunities and continue growing and learning once we've gone. With everything, there are some prerequisites that you need to consider when implementing personalisation. So your OMS, DMS or XDB needs to be enabled. Now to you and I, basically that means that you need to have a Mongo database installed and packaged on a server to be able to gather the insights of your visitors. Now it's not essential, but if you don't have it, then you're only going to be able to personalise based on on-site actions. So potentially where the user is, so their location, or potentially a goal that they've triggered on site at that point in time. Whereas if you do not have Mongo database installed, you're not going to be able to personalise based on their trailing value, and this is where you start to nurture your consumer, and that's kind of where the magic happens. The other thing that we need to make sure is implemented is your goals that we've already worked through in the workshops, as well as your profiles and personas. And there are a couple of prerequisites as well when it comes to Sitecore, that if you want to personalise based on the user's location or potentially what device they're on, then you need to buy credits from the App Store. But this is all very doable, and we will work with you and your team to get this strategy implemented.